You open your phone the moment the work gets hard. Not because something urgent arrived. Because sitting with difficulty became something you stopped practicing. You do this without noticing it. The tab opens, the app loads, and 30 minutes pass. You didn't decide to stop working. The pattern decided for you. That happens multiple times a day. Every day. And somewhere in the background, you know it. Subscribe for daily discipline. Every weak habit has the same structure underneath. It doesn't start as a habit at all. It starts as a response. Something in your environment or your body sends a signal. Discomfort, boredom, pressure, fatigue. The signal is real. And the brain, doing exactly what it is designed to do, looks for the fastest way to reduce it. If you have ever reached for your phone when a task felt heavy, the brain recorded that. The discomfort arrived. The phone followed. The discomfort briefly softened. The brain marked that sequence as useful. And then it filed it. The next time the same discomfort arrived, the path to the phone was slightly shorter. The time after that, shorter still. Within weeks, the behavior runs before you've made any conscious decision. The trigger fires. The response follows. The small chemical relief arrives. And the loop closes tighter each time it completes. That is not weakness. That is the brain optimizing for what it has been shown works. The problem is what it's been shown. Because you trained the loop. Not deliberately, but you trained it through repetition. Every time you chose the escape over the effort, the loop strengthened. Every time comfort was chosen over friction, the pattern grew more automatic. And automatic is the danger. Because automatic means the choice is no longer visible. You don't experience it as a decision. You experience it as what happened. There's a gap between those two things. That gap is where weak habits live. Weak habits don't announce themselves. They don't feel like failure in the moment. They feel like a small break. A reasonable pause. Something you'll correct later. But later is built from the same moments as now. And the pattern running in those moments doesn't distinguish between today and 6 months from today. It simply runs. Until something interrupts it with enough consistency to redirect it. That interruption has to be deliberate. It has to be specific. And it has to begin with understanding what the habit actually is, not what you generally think of it as. Pick one habit. Not the full list you carry in the back of your mind. 1. The one that costs the most and has run the longest. You know what it is. It's the pattern you return to under pressure. The one that feels like relief and leaves you slightly further behind. That one. Now find its trigger. Not the habit itself. The moment before it. The signal that starts the sequence. For 2 days, do not try to stop the behavior. Just watch it. Note when it happens. Note what was occurring in the 60 seconds before it. Write it in plain terms. No analysis. No judgment. Just the sequence recorded clearly. Task was open. Felt resistance. Switch tabs. 15 minutes gone. That level of specificity. Because vague problems survive vague awareness. When you see the exact shape of the trigger, you can place an intervention before the response happens. Not during it. Before. This is the part that changes everything. Most people try to stop the behavior at the moment of the pull. That's the hardest possible moment to resist. The decision has more power before the loop activates. So you change the environment at the trigger point. If the trigger is an open browser when work slows, you close every unnecessary tab before you begin. You use a site blocker on the specific pages the pattern pulls you toward. You raise the cost of the escape before the urge arrives. If the trigger is your phone within reach during focused work, the phone leaves the room. Not silenced. Gone from the space entirely. You are not testing your willpower at the moment of temptation. You are building a structure that doesn't require willpower to hold. That distinction matters. Willpower is a resource that depletes across the day. Environment is a structure that holds whether you feel strong or not. Build the structure. Now the replacement. The brain does not accept an empty space where a behavior used to be. Remove a habit without replacing it, and the old pattern will return at the next moment of pressure. You decide in advance what fills the space. Not something ambitious. Something specific and immediately executable. If the habit was switching tabs when work slows, the replacement is closing the laptop screen for 90 seconds, sitting with the discomfort, and reopening to the same document. That's it. Not a full new routine. One contained action. The first days will feel unnatural. The pull toward the old behavior will still be there. That feeling is normal. It is not a sign the replacement isn't working. It is a sign the old loop hasn't finished fading yet. Stay with it anyway. This part is uncomfortable. No adjustment to that fact. It is uncomfortable, and you do it regardless. That is the core of what discipline actually is. Day 1. Identify the single habit you are addressing. Write the trigger. Write the behavior. Write the approximate daily cost in time. Do not change anything yet. Observe only. Day 2. Observe again. Confirm the trigger pattern. Note whether it varies depending on your energy level or time of day. By the end of day 2, you have a clear map. Day 3. Change the environment. Remove or reduce access to whatever the trigger leads toward. Do not wait for motivation to support this decision. Make the environmental change before you feel ready. You will not feel ready. Day 4. Introduce the replacement behavior at the exact time the old habit would have run. Same window. Same trigger. New response. Execute it even when it feels mechanical. Especially when it feels mechanical. Day 5. Hold the structure regardless of what the day brings. Something will push against it. A difficult morning. Accumulated stress. An off night of sleep. These are the conditions that reveal whether the new behavior is beginning to hold or whether it was only working in easy circumstances. Hold it in the difficult circumstance. That is where the real change is built. Day 6. Review the 5 days plainly. Where did the old pattern return? At what point did you negotiate with it? Identify the gap in your environment or your replacement that allowed it back. Adjust that gap. No self-punishment. Just a clear look and a specific correction. Day 7. Recommit to the structure with the information you now have. Not to a general intention. To the specific trigger, the specific environmental change, the specific replacement behavior, and the specific time it runs. Then run another week. Because 7 days is not where this ends. 7 days is where you confirm it's working and begin again. The habit you're targeting was not built in a week. It was built in thousands of small repetitions across months. Each week you run this structure, the old loop weakens slightly. Each week the replacement becomes slightly more automatic. Each week the gap between who you are and who you are building closes a little further. That progress is slow. It will not feel significant in the early days. Do it anyway, because the days are passing regardless of what you choose to do inside them. The time does not pause while you decide whether to begin. It moves through the version of you that started and through the version of you that didn't. One habit, one trigger, 1 week. Begin today. Subscribe for daily discipline.